bookstore aisle. You laughed and I stayed
A cozy,
while.
slightly cramped used bookstore. All soft jazz, dust motes in golden light, and stacks that smell like time. The kind of place where people whisper instinctively. Samira reaches for a worn copy of Rumi's The Essential Mystics. Her fingers brushing against another hand reaching for the same book. It's Ayan, tall, tired-eyed, in a rumpled shirt, clearly not expecting anyone else to be interested in 13th century poetry. They both pause, amused but awkward.
Either we duel for it or read it aloud in battle with metaphors.
I was just hoping it had fewer metaphors. But I'll concede, you seem like the type who wins book duels.
There's a flicker, attraction, curiosity. She notices his gentle manner. He catches the way her eyes linger on the poetry section, like someone searching for more than just words. They talk. Hesitantly at first, then fluently. Books bleed into other topics. Travel, heartbreak, music. He mentions he's working nearby. She admits she just moved here, almost like she's still unsure if she belongs. Before they part, he says,
If you finish that and want to discuss which verses broke you the hardest, I'm usually around this street.
She doesn't respond right away, but later as he leaves, he hears her call softly behind him.
Page 72. That's where it usually breaks me.
He smiles without turning back. A small local cafe late afternoon. Rain begins unexpectedly, heavy and loud. She rushes in, drenched, laughing, pushing wet hair out of her face. He's there, already seated, already watching. She sees him. He gestures with a smile to the empty seat across from him, like it's always been waiting. She sits.
I swear I didn't conjure the rain to create a rom-com moment.
Shame. I was just about to compliment your dramatic timing.
They share coffee. No phones. No distractions. Just long silences that aren't uncomfortable. She finds herself telling him about the city she left, the man she left, and the woman she's trying to become. He listens intently, not interrupting once. Samira isn't used to being seen. Not like this. He looks at her like every word matters. Like silence doesn't scare him. He talks about his job, his constant moving. The loneliness of being in between places. His father's early death. The quiet weight of being the oldest son. They realize they're both navigating spaces that don't quite feel like home. Later that week, a spontaneous decision. She texts him after dinner.
Still want to talk about that Rumi line?
They meet and walk the quiet streets. Lights flicker on porches. The air is cold enough to make them share pockets of warmth. They end up by a lake, where the moon reflects like a broken mirror. They sit in silence. He leans back on his elbows, looking at the stars. She watches him instead.
You ever feel like your life was supposed to be something else entirely?
Every day.
I feel it with you. That possibility of something else.
There's a pull, something more than flirtation. It's not about physical chemistry, though that hums too. It's the beginning of something rare. Emotional intimacy. The sense that something sacred is starting, even if neither of them knows what to do with it yet. She leans her head on his shoulder. He doesn't move. And for a long moment the world is very, very quiet. A week passes. Then 10 days. She doesn't hear from him. She thinks she misread everything. That maybe it was just in her head. She starts pulling back emotionally. Old survival habits kicking in. She goes to the bookstore again, out of habit more than hope. She doesn't expect to see him. But he's there, hurried, holding his phone, looking guilty.
I lost my phone. Couldn't find your number again. I thought you'd think I ghosted you.
She laughs, a tight, sad one. Relief and frustration in equal measure.
I did. For a minute. I was rewriting the whole narrative.
Rewrite it. But this time, maybe leave space for a second chapter.
He hands her a note. His number scribbled under the words.
For the story we haven't written yet.
He smiles. This time when they part, they both look back. A small lakeside Airbnb in Michigan. It's off-season, quiet, almost eerily peaceful. They've just been officially together for about a month. It's their first trip away. The first test of coexisting in a shared space, without the buffer of familiar routines. They cook dinner together. It's clumsy, she burns the garlic, he spills the wine, they laugh until she cries from it. But after dinner, things turn quiet. They sit on the porch. The lake in front of them is still, glass-like. No words. He looks at her and says,
I think you carry old sadnesses like stones in your coat pockets.
She doesn't respond right away. But eventually she says,
And I think you want to fix things that can't be fixed.
This is their first emotionally raw moment, acknowledging their own emotional weight without trying to hide it. There's no argument, just understanding. Later in bed, she sleeps facing away from him. In the middle of the night, she turns over and wraps herself around him like she's afraid he might vanish. He doesn't move. He's already wide awake. Their apartment mid-morning. A record player humming in the background. Sunlight through linen curtains. They've started a small ritual. Sunday mornings are sacred. Phones off. Music on. One person makes breakfast. The other reads aloud from whatever book they're currently obsessed with. Today it's her, reading Baldwin while flipping pancakes with one hand. She wears one of his shirts. He leans against the kitchen doorframe, watching her like she's the first quiet he's ever known.
You feel like home in a way that scares me.
Good. I don't want to be easy.
They both sense how deep this is becoming. It's not just comfort. It's the kind of love that demands growth. Which also means risk. Later, while doing dishes, she hums the song playing on vinyl.
Years, a quiet life, a love sincere. You held my hand when I was brave. I kissed your fear and called it grace. But timing isn't always kind. Even love can fall behind. And I still love you from a distance, like a ghost in soft resistance. You're the song I never skip, the goodbye I couldn't grip. And I still see you in the quiet, in the scarf you left behind. We were wrong, we weren't right. We were just not in the light at the same time.
He comes up behind her, arms around her waist, and they sway slightly to the music. Wet hands, soapy plates, and everything beautiful in the mundane. A remote log cabin in Vermont. No reception, no internet. Just firewood, old novels, a wood stove, and thick snowfall. They've been snowed in for 3 days. On the second night, there's a power outage. They read by candlelight, drink whiskey, and play cards. She opens up more than she ever has. About the marriage she left, the guilt of failing it, the way she still dreams about disappearing entirely sometimes.
I thought loving someone meant losing parts of myself, one by one. I don't think I ever planned on trying again.
And yet here you are.
And yet here I am.
This scene is soft but shattering. It's not dramatic in action. It's dramatic in exposure. This is when she stops guarding herself. Later that night, she wakes in a panic, a nightmare. He doesn't say anything, just pulls her into his chest and lets her cry. No questions. No reassurances. Just presence. They make love afterward. Not rushed, not performative, but slow, reverent, like they're praying with their bodies. Spring. They're at a botanical garden. Cherry blossoms bloom like brief miracles. They sit on a bench, watching children run through petals. He reaches into his coat pocket, fingers a small box. Not a ring, not yet, just something simple. A necklace with a silver leaf, the kind they'd seen on their first trip together. He doesn't give it to her. He hesitates. She turns to him, sensing something. He smiles but not entirely.
I want to freeze this version of us. Right now. Just this.
That's not how life works, though.
They sit in silence again, as a breeze carries petals through the air like falling paper. He puts the box away. She doesn't see it. Neither of them realizes, this is the high point. Everything after this moment begins to shift, quietly. Their new apartment is bigger, brighter. They've just finished setting up. She's lining succulents along the windowsill. He's assembling a bookshelf. They bicker, nothing big. About how the shelves aren't aligned properly. About how she moved the kitchen stuff again. It's the kind of argument people in love have when they start to realize love doesn't cancel out personality differences. But afterward, they sit on the floor eating Thai takeout, surrounded by boxes and half-open plans. He watches her tending to the plants.
You know those won't survive unless you talk to them, right?
I know. I've been talking to them already. About you.
Yeah. What are you telling them?
That I'm scared of how much I love you.
She's admitting fear, not of him but of the future. Of what happens when love meets the chaos of reality. He reaches out and pulls her closer. They don't say anything else. The night ends in laughter again. But there's a new weight to it. Like they're both starting to understand. Love this deep will be tested. O'Hare Airport. Early morning. Samira stands by the gate, a small suitcase at her feet. Her phone buzzes.
Can't make it. I'm sorry. It's Mom.
Ayan was supposed to join her for a weekend getaway, something she planned to rekindle connection after weeks of emotional distance. Instead, he's back home, dealing with his mother's sudden cancer diagnosis. And she understands, of course she does, but she also feels something cold settle inside her chest. She doesn't board the plane. She sits in the waiting area for hours just staring. This isn't about the trip. It's about the fact that she's no longer sure where she fits in his life. And for the first time, she feels alone while still being in a relationship. She texts him.
I'm here if you need me. But you have to let me in.
He replies hours later.
I will. Just, not now.
That silence becomes its own kind of language. Their apartment. Late night. She's made dinner, his favorite. Handles. Something simple but thoughtful. He's over an hour late. When he walks in, he's drained. No apology, just exhaustion. She tries to brush it off, keeps things light. But something tips her. Maybe the way he answers with one-word sentences, or how he barely touches the food. She asks,
Are we okay?
I'm tired. That's all.
That's not an answer.
They argue but not loudly. The worst fights are often quiet, controlled. A war of withheld emotions. She accuses him of shutting her out. He accuses her of not understanding what it's like to lose a parent slowly, piece by piece.
Not everything can be fixed with wine and candles, Samira.
And not everything should be carried alone, Ayan.
She walks into the bedroom and closes the door. Not slammed, just closed. It's the first night they sleep apart in the same apartment. Couples therapy office. Neutral walls, tissues on the table. A therapist who barely speaks, letting them unravel. The therapist asks them each,
What do you need that you're not getting?
Ian takes a breath, looks at Samira, really looks at her, and says,
Permission. To fall apart. Without feeling like I'm failing you.
Samira's eyes well up. She whispers,
I need to feel chosen. Not just tolerated. Not like a passenger on the sidelines of your grief.
Neither of them is wrong. But neither of them has the strength to bridge the gap right now. They sit there in silence, holding hands, but it feels like holding sand. Later in the parking lot, she leans her head against the car window and murmurs,
How can love still be here, but feel so far?
He doesn't answer. Quiet Tuesday. Samira turns 34. She doesn't remind him. She wants him to remember. He doesn't. She spends the day pretending it's fine. She tells herself people forget, that it's just a day. But the truth is, this one mattered because it was the first one with him. He comes home late again. Stress in his eyes. She sits on the couch, wine untouched. He notices the flowers on the counter, the ones she bought for herself.
Oh God. Sam. I'm so.
Don't. Please don't. I don't want an apology more than I wanted to be remembered.
It's not about the day. It's about what it represents. The slow erosion of being seen, of intentionality, of presence. He tries to fix it, offers a weekend away, a redo. But her eyes say it clearly. Some things can't be re-celebrated. Their apartment, morning sun. Ion's packing his bag. Not just for a trip, but for something else. He's made the decision to move back home full-time. He sits beside her on the bed, suitcase zipped. She's quiet. They've talked this through for days now, but this is the moment it becomes real.
I don't know how to do both. Be here and be what they need.
And what about what I need?
He doesn't answer. She walks to the kitchen and returns with a small envelope. Inside, a note. A quote they once underlined together in a book.
You can't love people into staying. You can only love them well while they're here.
She's letting him go. Not because she wants to, but because she knows clinging would turn their love into something bitter. He places his forehead against hers. They don't kiss. They don't say goodbye. He walks out. She stays standing in the doorway long after he's gone, like maybe if she stays still enough, this won't be real. Their apartment, still filled with his presence. His books on the shelves, a sweater on the chair, toothbrush still by the sink. Samira wakes to an unfamiliar silence. It's not just the absence of his voice. It's the absence of shared routine. She makes 1 cup of coffee instead of 2, then stops mid-pour, realizing how much of her identity had become interwoven with his. She sits on the floor by the kitchen counter, back against the cabinets, holding the mug like it's an anchor. Voicemail pings. It's him.
I didn't know how to stay without resenting you. And I didn't know how to go without breaking myself. But I left anyway. I'm sorry. For everything.
She doesn't cry. She just puts her phone down, takes a sip of coffee, and whispers.
You still took the good mugs.
That line. It's heartbreak masked as humor. Tiny detail packed with pain. She's trying to keep it light, but her body language betrays the ache. This is the first morning of the new version of her life. One without him in it. Late afternoon. She's cleaning. More to keep busy than anything else. Behind the couch, she finds a scarf he left behind. The one he wore on their first trip to Michigan. She picks it up like it might burn her. The scent still lingers. Not perfume or cologne but him. That strange mix of sandalwood and old paper. She sits, scarf in hand, as her memory flashes back to that weekend. How he wrapped it around her neck playfully. How she pretended to hate it but secretly wore it every time she missed him. She almost texts him.
Found your scarf. Should I mail it?
But she doesn't. Instead, she folds it carefully and puts it in the bottom drawer of her nightstand. Not ready to let go but trying. This is grief without tears. The quiet violence of remembering. Of loving someone who isn't dead but gone nonetheless. The hardest part. He's still out there. Living. Choosing not to return. A rainy evening. She lights a candle and starts writing in a notebook. Not a journal entry, but a letter to him. The letter is raw. She writes everything she didn't say during the breakup. Not angry things but truths.
You didn't ruin us. Life did. And maybe that's the most tragic part, that we were right, but we weren't ready. That you loved me from a place of survival. And I loved you expecting permanence.
She pauses, then adds.
I forgive you. But I won't wait for you.
You needed space, I needed you. But healing splits a heart in two. I forgave you in a letter, words I never thought you'd treasure. You whispered back through memory that you'd have stayed if you were free.
She doesn't sign it. She doesn't mail it. She folds it once, slips it into the back of a book they once read together, and puts it on the shelf. Closure isn't always mutual. Sometimes you give it to yourself. This scene is Samira reclaiming her emotional agency. She still loves him, maybe always will, but she's drawing her first real boundary. Small neighborhood cafe. A few months have passed. She's different now, stronger in posture, sharper in eyes, but still healing. She's ordering when she hears a voice behind her. It's him. They lock eyes. Neither expected this. He looks thinner, more tired. She looks more composed, but there's a flicker, the past alive in both their eyes.
Hi.
Hey.
They sit for 5 minutes. No dramatic confessions. Just real words.
My mother passed a month ago.
I'm sorry.
I think about you all the time.
I know.
This scene is cinematic in its restraint. There's no reconciliation, but there's understanding. And for a moment, the past and present sit side by side, holding hands across time. He asks,
Are you happy?
She replies after a long breath. She replies after a long breath.
I'm getting there.
They part without hugging, without looking back. A year after the breakup, Samira's in a new apartment. Smaller, simpler, filled with art and plants she didn't kill this time. She hosts a small dinner with friends. Laughter echoes through the room. She wears a dress she once felt too unsure to wear. Someone asks about him. She smiles, warm and clear-eyed.
He was my great love. And my great lesson. Both things can be true.
Later that night, she stands on her balcony, glass of wine in hand, looking up at the stars. She finally feels okay. Not whole maybe, but free. This isn't the kind of story that ends with happily ever after. It's more powerful. It ends with self-love, with peace, with the understanding that sometimes the most unexpected ending is the one where you find yourself. A small indie bookstore downtown, one they used to frequent. It's been nearly 2 years. Samira's there browsing poetry. Neruda, of course. She reaches for a copy. So does someone else. Their fingers touch. It's Ian. He looks older, in a life has lived in kind of way. A light beard, tired eyes, softer presence. She's not surprised to see him. Not entirely. Sometimes the universe has its own script. They sit at the in-store cafe, surrounded by soft music and old books.
I moved back 6 months ago. Thought about reaching out.
I would have answered.
I wasn't sure if I deserved to be an echo in your life. This is the reunion no one plans, but everyone imagines. There's no begging, no apologies, just presence. Just two people who meant everything to each other, meeting again in a life that kept moving without them together. A slow walk through their old neighborhood, golden hour light, everything familiar but slightly changed, like a dream retold from memory. They walk in silence at first. But then it begins. Memories layered over the cityscape like ghosts. They pass the bar where they had their first deep conversation. The Thai place they fought outside. The bookstore with the broken stare that made them laugh every time.
Some places don't forget.
Some people don't either.
She stops walking. Looks at him.
You broke my heart. But I survived you.
He nods, takes it like a man who knows it's true.
I think I broke mine too.
This isn't anger. It's closure with grace. Pain, yes, but pain that has been sat with, understood and released. They stand on the sidewalk, strangers now, but also not. A photography exhibit. Stories told in black and white stills. They wander into it together. One photo freezes them. A couple holding hands in a quiet kitchen, surrounded by mess, but looking at each other like the world disappeared. He stares. He whispers.
I almost proposed to you in a place like that. Same light. Same moment.
She turns slowly.
Why didn't you?
Because I didn't want you to say yes to someone who wasn't whole yet.
She looks back at the photo. Her voice soft but firm.
I would've. I loved you at your most undone.
He looks down, jaw tight. That's the moment he realizes what he lost wasn't a perfect woman, but a woman who loved him fully anyway. This isn't about regret. It's about the deep human ache of too late. Park bench at twilight. He hands her an envelope. She hands him one too. They've written to each other, one final time. Letters neither of them read in front of the other. She walks away first. This time she's the one leaving. He watches her until she disappears into the trees. Later, we hear her voice narrating what she wrote as he reads.
You were the love I didn't expect. The kind that made me softer and stronger at once. I don't regret you. I only regret the parts of me I gave away without realizing I was doing it. But I take them back now. Not because I hate you, but because I'm ready to belong fully to myself.
Then his voice, reading hers.
If we had met 5 years later, I'd have married you. If we had met 5 years earlier, I wouldn't have been ready. But we met exactly when we were supposed to. And I will always carry your name like a prayer I whisper only to myself.
This is the emotional high point. Perfect collision of love, loss, closure, and growth. Neither letter tries to fix what broke. They simply witness it. And that's enough. Years later. A wedding not theirs. Samira walks in, older, glowing, laughing with someone off-screen. We don't know if she's single or taken, because that's not the point anymore. Across the room, Ayan spots her. Their eyes meet. They nod. That's it. A moment of acknowledgement between two people who once meant everything, and now carry each other as soft history. No words, just eyes. Then they look away. Back to their lives.
We don't always end up with the people who change us the most. But sometimes, the greatest love stories are the ones that end and still leave you whole.
Love you from a distance, with a calm and no resistance. You're the page I never tear, the shadow in an empty chair, and I still find you in the silence of a place we used to know. You were fire, I was rain. We just burned out all the same, still letting go. I don't wish we'd held on longer, just wish we'd met when we were stronger. You were my almost, my old refrain, my softest echo after pain. So I still love you from a distance, with no hope and no insistence. You're the ache I wouldn't trade for a life I never made. And I still see you in the rear view of the roads we never took. If love's a story with no end, then you're the chapter I still read in every book. We weren't forever, but we were real.